Testing 1, 2, 3. Are you receiving me at the back?
Yes, we can hear you.
Fabulous.
Thank you very much, Jimmy. Thank you for coming onto the podcast, Jamie.
No worries. Thank you for having me.
We've not only got Jamie Riding on the podcast today. Who else do we have on the podcast?
We have Mr. Punch. We have a bit of panto there as well. So yes, every little bit of my being is here today.
So Jamie Riding, you are a performer in Dorset.
I am indeed.
You live in Ferndown, but you perform across the area. During the winter months, you do panto, and during the summer months, you're doing Mr. Punch and Judy shows across the country and stuff. But tell us how you got into acting, performing.
Yes, so I was quite a young child. Of course, I was young because everyone starts young anyway. No, when I was younger, I was actually quite scared of the theatre. So I got taken to shows and things like that. I've got Asperger syndrome, which is a form of autism, and it's some of the difficulties that I had were live theatre and mainly noise, really. And when I used to go and see shows, I'd last maybe 5 minutes or so. And then I went to go and see a show at the Bic in Bournemouth called Get Up and Go. And it was by Dave Benson Phillips from Get Your Own Back. That was his show. He used to play the guitar, really relaxed. It was kind of the first ever version of a relaxed performance. So he kind of brought that into being a thing. And then following on from that Christmas, that Christmas, I went and saw my first panto at the Pavilion. And I thought, this is something quite special. There's something amazing about this. So I saw that, and I went to drama clubs, and I did shows at school. And then I saw my first Punch and Judy show when I was 12 years old in the Bournemouth Gardens. And then I thought, that's what I want to do. And then ever since then, I've been living my dream.
Amazing. And what came first for the becoming professional Punch and Judy?
Yeah, so I did panto first. Well, my first actual performance was when I first ever played a character. I was actually Miss Hannigan in Annie at my primary school. Work that one out. But no, that was my first ever little thing that I did. And then I loved panto, and then I did the Punch and Judy. And then I did my first panto at 17 years old at the Tivoli Theatre in Wimborne. And I played the policeman in Aladdin. That was a fabulous, fabulous show. And then my first actual professional dame, I was Dame Trot in Jack and the Beanstalk in Clacton in Essex. And how's this for a full circle moment? The guy that played the king was Dave Benson Phillips. So the whole reason that I got into the industry, that person was actually in the show that I was in. You know, it was fantastic. It was pure magic. That show was really, really special.
Yeah.
And then I did one more season there, and now I'm the resident dame at the Weymouth Pavilion down in Dorset, down here in Dorset, and I'm very, very lucky to spend my festive seasons down there by the seaside.
Incredible. So this is the third or fourth year
Third year this year, Jack and the Beanstalk this year in Weymouth, and very, very excited. Jack and the Beanstalk's always been one of my favourite titles, but mainly because the dame actually gets featured in the story. It's not just shoehorned in like it sometimes is in other shows, and she gets a lot of pathos and lots of story. And there's the moments of where she has to sell the cow, and Jack comes back and says, "Oh, Mum, I got this magic bag of beans." That's rubbish to her because they're not going to be able to afford to eat from a bag of beans. And then it's got all the beautiful story around it, and it's just such an adventure of a panto. It's one of my favourites, always has been.
That's great. And you're not only a performer in it, you help write the show as well.
Yeah. So I write my own opening spots, and I put bits and pieces into the show that make it more relevant and more local to down here in Dorset. And I just think it's nice to have a personal touch. Sorry about that P then, personal touch. And I need a pop shield here for these teeth. I'm the only performer that could actually eat an apple through a tennis racket. It's true. Oh dear. Me and Bugs Bunny were actually separated at birth. Sorry. It's all coming out now. But yes, it's, I forgot what I was talking about now. But no, so I do write the bits and pieces in the script, and it's great. It's really nice to make it local and relevant to where we are.
That's fantastic. And you have a catchphrase as well.
I do indeed, yes. Every time I'm going to go into the voice now. So every time I walk on stage, I'm going to shout at the top of my voice, "How do I look?" And you all shout back, "Gorgeous." That's what I do. So I walk out, "How do I look?" And you shout back,
"Gorgeous."
There we are. Look at that. He's learning. He is learning. We'll make a panto audience out of him, yes. Just possessed by a middle-aged woman then. Sorry about that.
No, we're loving it.
Man's laughing his head off over here.
Oh yeah, I don't think Louis going to get through this episode.
No.
I've got a bad cough as well.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, so every time I laugh,
That's a shame.
You're causing injury to my staff here.
Oh dear. You all right? It's all right. You're all right in a minute. Be fine.
Louis is fine. Louis is all okay. He's tough.
That's a bit to put up with me.
So Panto's obviously very important to you. Like, Panto's such a British thing as well.
Oh, it absolutely is. It is magic. It is a child's first ever time of going, most of the time, apart from me, obviously, but first time ever going to the theatre. And if you capture their love of theatre at a young age, you've got an audience goer for life. Yes, they may just go and see Panto at Christmas, but then they can go and experience other things as well, which is so special. And not they may not want to be a performer or anything like that, but it just gives them that little bit of adventure and a bit of escapism. And the most important thing, the magic of that particular time of year. It's so special, it really is. And from doing Panto and Punch and Judy, they both link together really well because they're from the same origins. They're from Commedia dell'arte in Italy, and they both come back from the same story. And so it's almost as if it's like Punch and Judy is Panto's sort of long lost cousin. And it's really nice that I get to do both those things. And I mean, my show is very much a Panto with puppets. Punch and Judy always has to move with the times. It's so important it moves with the times. That's why it's lasted as long as it has.
Yeah.
He's 363 years old this year. First seen in Covent Garden in 1662. That's how much of a nerd I am. But it's something so special, and he's evolved with the times and changed with the times. And I always try and keep my show topical and different. It's like I've got in my show, Joey the Clown brings up a string of American sausages because if you eat too many of those, you get the trumps. That's keeping it topical and relevant. And it's nice to just put a few different spins on it and make it relevant for the audiences of the 21st century.
Incredible. I like your pivot there towards Punch and Judy. My children have seen you or Punch and Judy show at least 2 or 3 times. It's a great show.
I'm so sorry.
Really good.
I'm ever so sorry. I am so sorry. Are they still in therapy or?
Now, where do you typically perform your Punch and Judy
Anywhere
show?
that they'll pay me.
That's important.
No, it's mainly family fun days and festivals. I do a lot of care homes as well because the care homes, obviously, it brings back memories. He's still laughing over in the corner. It's very serious now. I do a lot of care homes. It helps bring back memories, obviously, from their childhoods and things like that. It's one of the things that one of the stories I love telling about the care homes is there was one I did a few years ago, and afterwards I always go around with Mr. Punch and have photos with the residents. And I went up to this lady and said, "Would you like a photo of Mr. Punch?" And she said, "Oh yes, please, that would be lovely." Said hello, and it was all really lovely. And I looked over at the carers and they were crying. I thought, what have I done wrong? And I was genuinely worried. I went over and spoke to them, and they said that was the first time she's spoken for 6 months.
Oh my God.
And it's just the magic of this puppet, Mr. Punch. There he is. There he is. If you can see that at home, there you are. But the magic of that, what he can do is just amazing because it's funny, it's silly, and it's a cartoon mainly. It's so visual, and that's why it's worked for so many years. There was another thing that happened to me probably a month or so ago, and it was just amazing. It took my breath away. Not that much, obviously, because I had to carry on doing a show. But I was looking out from the booth, and there was a child there, her mum, and then her grandmother and her great-grandmother. They were all laughing at exactly the same thing. I mean, it's magic. I mean, what other job can you do where that happens? It's just, I'm so lucky that I get to call this my living. Very lucky.
Amazing. Yeah, incredible. And especially with Punch Judy. So you'll be at Pool Goes Vintage and Shake and Stir and Clifftop Music Festival. Yeah,
everywhere I'll be. If normally locally, if there's a Punch and Judy show advertised, it's me. But if it's not, it's somebody else rubbish. No, I'm only joking. No, it's that I am. No, it's lovely. I get to do a lot of the local events and things like that, and it's really nice to get to see some familiar faces that come to a few different shows that I do, and it's nice that they come back and want to see it again. As well as doing the Punch and Judy, I've got the comedy magic that I do at the family festivals and things like that as well. And if this happens very often, a child goes and sees the first show and they really enjoy it, and they come back and see the next one. Come back and see the next one, and they're there the whole day. For a parent, it's a dream because they get to,
it's easy to sit down.
Off you go for half an hour. But it's lovely that they enjoy it so much, and especially when the child is still with their parent and they're having a good laugh, and whoever's with them are having a good laugh, and it's so special that I get to do that as on a daily basis almost at the moment, because it is we are in the middle of the peak season now, and it's a busy time, but it's a really lovely time of year because I just get to entertain so many people.
Yes, it's a great attraction, isn't it? It's really entertaining, especially in the sunny weather and stuff in the summer.
Absolutely,
it's ideal. Punch and Judy shows. Can you tell us any secrets behind how the Punch and Judy show comes together?
That was a nice little shoehorn. Well done. Now I'll put Mr. Punch back over there for a minute, then he can have a little sleep for a minute. There we go. He won't shut his eyes. He's a puppet. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to bend down here for a second, everybody. If you're not watching this, doesn't matter. This little thing I got here in my hand, it's called the swazzle, and I won't show you what it looks like if you're watching, but I'm just going to place it into my mouth like this, and it makes Mr. Punch's voice. Here we go.
Hello, everybody. That's the way to do it. Whoa.
And that's what I do for my living. It's amazing, isn't it?
Mr. Punch, what is Jamie like to work with?
Oh, dear. It's awful. It's dreadful. Can't stand it. It smells. It does. Sticky.
He's talking to me right now, everyone. If you're not actually watching this is actually getting a little bit weird right now. We're having a conversation with two people, but it's actually just one. But there we go. He's laughing there.
I've got the giggles now.
Never mind.
Oh, dear.
Horrid.
And how many Mr. Punches do you, and how many puppets do you need?
How many puppets do we need for a whole show? So hang on a minute. I'm just going to remove the swazzle just a second because then I can talk properly. Yeah, that's happened to a few people I know.
Oh no!
And it's safe. It passes through, but you need to check when it comes out. Make of that what you will. So yes, in my show, I think I probably have about 6 or 7 different puppets, but other people have loads. I mean, I collect puppets as well, so I have a lot older ones as well. And the nice thing was when I first started out, I actually had puppets from a performer that used to perform locally in Dorset. And my family bought those and the booth from him. And I used his puppets for the first few years of when I was performing my show. So it was nice to be carrying on his legacy. And now all my puppets that I use most of them are made by a lady called Mareka, and she lives in Suffolk. And she's what most Punch and Judy performers call our Punch and Judy mother. So she's like our adopted mum. And she's so lovely. And she makes everything. And then after each season, I send the puppets back to her and she remakes them or repaints them and things. But the Punch that I have with me today is made by another Punch performer in Dorset called Gary Wilson. And Gary does a lot of the festivals more sort of Dorchester and Weymouth way. And his puppets are stunning, absolutely beautiful. I mean, this one is so beautiful that I never used it in a show. It's so lovely that I use it only for photos and anything that sort of press and things like that, because it's just so lovely and it just looks so lovely in photos. The cough's catching now. But no, and the nice thing is with my show is I get to do all the different voices and things, because I didn't really had a little chat earlier, but the one thing I didn't say is I love doing impressions as well.
Oh yes,
that's one of my things I absolutely love doing. And obviously at the moment the most topical voice to do is Dr. J Trap. J stands for genius. That's right. Thank you very much. It's all gonna be great. It's all great. It's gonna be on Twitter. It's great. I'm gonna be with my friend Elon Musk. Depending on when this is going out, we could still be friends. Or could not be friends. We don't know what's going to happen. It's all going to be great.
Incredible. So we've got a lot of people into the interview today.
We have, yeah. There's a lot of people here today, everybody. There really is. We could have a bit of Joe Pasquale as well. He talks a bit more like that. Wow. And it's a bit more, that's right, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. goes a bit more excited like that. Oh, you could go to Zippy as well. Go to Gilgig, well, we cook a bit more, yeah, you cook a bit Gilgig. Or you could go to Alan Carr as well. Well, yes, it's me, Alan Carr, chatty man. Or me, Judy and Claire. Thank you, punters. It's great. I love it.
When did you discover that? When did you find out you were funny? When did you realise you were a funny person?
I looked in the mirror and I thought, well, I'm not going to be a model, am I? No, I've always, this is my coping mechanism. I've tried with my Asperger syndrome and autism. I make people laugh because that's what I have control over. You know, if I make fun of myself, it doesn't necessarily matter what I say or do because people are going to find it funny. And, you know, if I have a bit of a funny turn or something like that, which doesn't happen particularly often anymore, but if I have a bit of a meltdown or something, people will just think, oh, he's being funny again. So it doesn't matter. So if I have a bit of an autistic moment, it's fine because people think, oh, he's just having a bit of a, being silly. And that's my coping mechanism. And I'm so lucky that I get to make that as part of my job, really, and it's great fun. It really is.
Do you want to talk a bit more about living with Asperger's and how performing has helped you?
Yeah, absolutely. It is literally my life. Since I was very, very young, I've there's always going to be struggles growing up, regardless of whether you have a neurodivergent condition or whatever. But I've been so lucky in my years growing up and people around me in the industry that every single person, well, maybe a few, have supported what I've done, from teachers at school to my family who are amazing and my close friends and stuff like that. And it's so nice that I've always had people around me that have supported me and what I've done. It's like when I was at school, I said, I want to be a panto dame. So my drama teacher, her husband used to be a dame, and she gave me her husband's old costumes. So in the Christmas assembly, I did a pantomime dame bit in the show. And that was really special. And then from there onwards, I started building up the collection of costumes and things. And autistic people are very, very known for hoarding things and collecting things, which I do too. Obviously within my job, to an extent, it's necessary. But, people often ask me, Jamie, if there was a cure for autism, Asperger's, whichever you want to call it, would you take it? No, because it makes me who I am. I'm very lucky to have that. That's my superpower. It's my armor.
Incredible. Because when were you diagnosed? When did you first realise?
Oh, blimey. That was just before I went into secondary school. So I would have been, 11 or 12, I think? Right. No, probably younger than that. So probably be about 11 or 12. So I've had years to process what it is and how to deal with things. But I mean, there's some of my close friends. There's a very good comic friend of mine that was I was in Panto with last Christmas, Tony Rudd, and he lives locally as well. And Tony, he's a lovely, lovely man. He was only diagnosed with Asperger's when he was in his 50s. So he spent 50 years of his life, trying to process why he was different. And it wasn't until he had a job at Victoria Education Centre, he felt, actually, I'm like the people I work with. And then he realised, this is what I've got. And, he spent 50 years of his life trying to process it. And, I was in such a lucky position where everyone around me, they know what it is. And, people now, yes, there still needs to be more understanding of it and awareness of it, but it is so much better than it used to be. So much better than it used to be. It's so nice that people go, you've got Asperger's, you've got autism. Doesn't matter. You're you. That's what matters.
That's really good to hear. You mentioned you had lots of support from parents and family. How is Dorset in general? Like, did you have a lot of support services from Dorset?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I had a statement when I was at school. I had a teaching assistant and things like that. And I'm very lucky to live in Dorset and grow up when I did, because everyone around me, the teachers at school, the local authorities, were amazing. They were so supportive. It is a little more tricky now because of funding and things like that. But when I was growing up, it was absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
That's really positive. That's good to hear. You mentioned you're quite a collector as well. I think you talked about how many Dame costumes you have in storage?
Roughly, I think there's about between 90 or 100 costumes. Some of those are brand new to me. Some of them I've got secondhand, and some of them were very kindly given to me a few years ago by a lovely man called Malcolm Lord. And for those people at home, Malcolm Lord was Bungle and Rainbow. And he used to do pantomime with a very, very famous actor from the 80s and 70s called John Inman. And the slightly older listeners and viewers might remember his catchphrase is, Mr. Humphreys, are you free? I'm free. That was his catchphrase on the programme Are You Being Served? And it was a huge sitcom back in the day. Absolutely massive. And John did panto every Christmas. And one Christmas, he did panto with Zippy, George and Bungle from Rainbow. And they toured around for a few years. And one day John became poorly. And Malcolm said, well, you know, it's better if I go on and perform as the Dame, because if you send a dancer on, they won't necessarily know the show. I've been touring around with John for a few years, so I know how he works. So that happened. And Malcolm said, oh, I'll go down to the shop and get a pleated blouse and a skirt. And John went, no, you'll use my costumes. So Malcolm used John's costumes for that day. John came back and then finished the run. And then a couple of years later, John became poorly again. And Malcolm said, well, I go on. And then John, when you're better, you can come back and finish the show. Unfortunately, John didn't get better. And then the year after he passed away. But John very kindly left those costumes to Malcolm in his will. And then Malcolm became a Dame in his own right and then used the costumes, and he's now the resident Dame up at the Lyceum Theatre in Crewe. And all the costumes have been seen by the audiences. So they were just sort of sat in his garage and said, I became really good friends with Malcolm during lockdown. And he said, Jamie, I'll leave them in my will to you. And I said, well, they'll just be sat there. He went, all right then, have them now. So very kindly, he gave those costumes to me, and some of those will be seen this Christmas again at the Weymouth Pavilion. There's a few there this year, and there's a very exciting routine that John used to do, and it's set to the music of the Stripper. So you know, that one, and it's layers and layers of clothing. So there's a washing line that comes out and everything, and it is so spectacular. And I've obviously got the original costume from that. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that might be in the show at Christmas. But it's going to be special this year. So there's a few new things. There's a few things of John's that I'm going to be using, but tickets are on sale now. So
fantastic.
Go online at www.weymouthpavilion.com or call the box office on 01305 783 225. And that's how you know I'm autistic, because I can remember phone numbers.
Incredible plug there. Well done. For listeners, Jamie's bought in a piece of his Dame costume as well.
I have a wig here. People at home, there we are. This is one of my very wigs that I have. This is one of my smaller ones. It is, honestly. And, you know, normally they'd have hats and bits and pieces attached to them as well. They are amazing. And for each costume I have in the show, I have a different wig, different shoes, different jewellery, gloves, everything, top to toe, totally different every single time. And, you know, costume changes are very, very quick in panto. The quickest one I had last Christmas, I think, was 35 seconds.
My God.
You know, that was everything, top to toe. And it working out roughly this Christmas, I think I'm going to have about 11 costume changes. But it is going to be something special this year. Just put that back down because she's quite heavy. There we are. But yes, so that's one of my wigs amazing. There, and I've got a lot of them, and they're all made by a friend of mine called David Burt, and he is a Dame himself, and he makes all these wigs, and they are just spectacular, and they just finish off each costume just beautifully.
Amazing. It must be so intense, the panto season. Like, you're doing so many performances close together. How do you manage that? How do you
sleep a lot? But no, so we normally run for, I think this year we open on the 14th, I think, of December. Might need to check that date. I'm not 100% sure. And then we run until the 3rd of January. And in that space of time, we only have 2 days off.
Wow.
We have 2 shows a day, every day, 2 and 6, every single day. You know, that's a 2-hour show with 11 costume changes per show. So that's 22 costume changes per day. Just let that sink in for a minute. And I'm very lucky that I've got a brilliant dresser called Charlie, and she's amazing. And she knows how it works, and she knows how the costumes work, and she's absolutely brilliant. I don't know what I'd do without her in the show, to be honest, because she basically keeps everything running. You know, from what you see on stage, how rehearsed that is, it's just as rehearsed, if not more rehearsed, backstage for the costume changes. You know, so we put the first one on, I go out and do my opening spot, I come off, the next one's already set there, the shoes are ready, the tights are ready, everything's there, wig goes on, back on stage, she presets the next one, and it then kept over and over and over and over again. And it is just, it's a system and a half. And, you know, things do go wrong sometimes, like, you know, zips go and things like that. There's always a safety pin and a bit of gaffer tape around the side somewhere. And you need to just be able to be on it and do it as quick as you can, because sometimes you don't know how long a scene's going to last or something like that. There's been a few times, not in the last couple of years, but a few years before, where a whole page nearly of dialogue got cut just by accident. And the performer just cut a page of the dialogue, and I was only halfway through a costume change. So there was me going, yes, I'll be there in just a minute. I'm just doing my hair, you know. So quite literally doing my hair because I put my wig on. But it's great, because that's the nice thing about Panto. Every single show is different. The same with Punch and Judy. Every single show is different. And the magic of live entertainment is that audience will never be that audience again. You know, you have hundreds of people, sometimes thousands of people if you're lucky. And that audience will never be that audience again, because once that show's done, they all separate. But for that, maybe, you know, Punch and Judy, half an hour, Panto, 2 hours, they create magic, because they are the second member of cast for Punch and Judy. And then for Panto, without the audience, it's only half a show. Once the audience are there, everything just falls into place, and it just rolls, and it's nice because you can keep things fresh. And audience members sometimes say something which you're not necessarily expecting, and you have to be able to be quick and go back to it and go, oh, well, yeah, this is this, and it's all that sort of thing. And you have different people in the audience. Like when I do Dame, you know, the Dame always picks on a man in the audience. So you know, could be a different name you have not heard before, or it could be a place you've not heard before, and you have a nice bit of conversation and a bit of banter about that. And then that might not ever happen again, because that person may not necessarily be back to watch the show again. I mean, after watching me, I wouldn't be surprised. but that's the magic of live entertainment, is the audience, because without them, you're talking to a bunch of seats.
Yes, it's important to sell seats, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly,
to get people in, yeah. Did you do any formal training? Or?
Yes, so I trained at the Jellicoe Theatre at Paul College. I was there for 3 years. I did level 2, and then I did level 3. They said for me to do the degree course, and I went, no. No, I would have, but I had so much work already lined up. And I was just like, I need to go and
do the work,
because that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
You know, I had the training, I had the grounding, the most important thing. You had the grounding, and then you build upon that. It's like when I did my first Panto, I was like, before going into it, oh yeah, this is easy. I'm going to be able to do this so easy. No way. You have to, every single day, you learn something new on Panto, and any job really, you learn something new. Always be prepared to learn. Always be prepared to learn. That's the most important thing.
Incredible. You've toured around the country. You've performed to lots of different audiences.
I have indeed.
How does Dorset audiences compare?
They are the best. They are the best audiences. You're up for a good time. You're always up for a laugh, and you're not afraid to shout out, which I think is the nice thing. You know, at Easter time, I did an Easter Panto tour, which went around the whole UK. And there were some lovely audiences, absolutely lovely. But there's nothing that beats a Dorset audience. It is so it's something special. It really is. And I think people from Dorset, they know their own kind. And I love the fact that I am Dorset born and bred, and I get to perform to people like me that just want to have a bit of fun.
Well, there you go, Dorset. That is a ringing endorsement for your skills as an audience.
Yeah, very good. World class. I give you a 4.5 out of 5. So, you know, get a little bit better and you might get a 5 out of 5. So, you know, get that going.
The last thing I want to talk to you about was you also do magic tricks as well. That's another string to your bow.
Yes.
How did you get into doing magic?
Well, so from doing the Punch and Judy shows and things like that, I thought, well, it's always good to have other streams of income, really, because, I do voiceover work, I do other acting work, and also the Punch and Judy and Panto, but there's always... you should always aspire to do something. And I've got a lot of good friends that are entertainers locally, and they do a lot of magic and things like that. And they say, well, why don't you give it a go? I was like, I couldn't do that. I love hiding behind the booth and just doing a show. I says, no, but you do your own bit at the start of the show anyway. Just do that, but again, add more to it. And then I did, and I went to some amazing conventions. Like there's the Blackpool Magic Convention, which happens every February up in Blackpool, funnily enough. And I go up to that every year, and then I go to another children's entertainers convention called Tricks, which is like a base for children's entertainers to get props and have talks and things like that. And it's fascinating, so many great things. And I'm really happy that I get to do magic as well as Punch and Judy, because a lot of the festivals that I do now, I tend to do Punch and Judy and magic. So I do a Punch and Judy show, then magic, then Punch and Judy. So I get to really mix it up, and it's really nice because the crowds get to see me from a different perspective as well. So it's not just me, the man behind the booth. It's also me, the man in front of doing the comedy magic and stuff. And the kids love it. They go absolutely mad. I mean, I only do a few tricks in my show, but it's more about the audience in my show and making sure they're having a good time. And it's just a big half an hour of fun. It's really good fun. And I hope the audience have as much fun as I do, because I love it. It's great fun.
That's brilliant. Do you have a favourite character that you've played or show that you've done?
It's a difficult one. I do think that first bigger dame in Jack and the Beanstalk in Clacton will always be very special to me, because also that was the last one that my granddad got to see me in Panto. That was the last time you got to see me. And then I would also say that when I did my first year in Weymouth, when I was Dame Daisy Doolittle. So my dame, she's always called Daisy. That's her own. She's always called Daisy. So she's always Daisy something. And my first year in Weymouth with Snow White, that was the last one that my nanny got to see me perform in. So, there's always going to be little reasons that each different ones are special. But for Panto, I'd say it's probably those two. But we haven't really touched on it yet. But I also did last year One Man, Two Governors, and playing Francis Henshaw in One Man, Two Governors. Oh my word, what a show. I still remember the lines now. I think it's engraved in my brain. And I mean, it took me long enough to learn it. But it was so much fun. So much fun. I got to go out there and basically be on stage and be an idiot for 2 hours. And not in a dress, so I could actually move around.
Oh, wow.
But the weird thing was, when I was in the wings, I didn't have to change my costume or anything. So I stood there going, God, this is taking ages. I want to go back on stage. But this must be what it's like for a normal performer, not to have to do costume changes. But that was just such a special show. And I do thank Revive Theatre, Rich and Dean for letting me do that. It was just so much fun. I loved it. It was by far one of the best experiences of my life. So much fun. And bringing it back round to Panto slightly is, as I say, my first Panto was at the Tivoli in Wimborne, and I played the policeman. So it was sort of only a small part. So I was in dressing room 3. And then when I went back and did One Man, Two Governors, my face was on the poster and I was in dressing room 1. What a lovely full circle moment, and it was just so special that I got to walk out on that stage again and just have the best time. Because my little phrase that I always go by, as long as I make at least one person smile or laugh on one day, that day's good. If I don't, it's wasted. So my aim is to make at least one person happy every day.
That's lovely. That's a lovely sentiment. Do you manage that, do you think?
I think so. Mainly out of me being an absolute idiot, but I think I do quite well.
Excellent. One thing we ask all our guests, what does Dorset mean to you?
What does Dorset mean to me? It's my home, first of all. And I always look forward to coming back. Once I've been touring or doing something like that, I always look forward to coming back here. But it's a lovely place. You know, we are so lucky to live and for me to perform here. You know, where we are, we have, you know, the lovely New Forest a little bit further that way. Then we have all the beaches and everything, and it's got great connections to London and things like that. But home is Dorset, and it always will be Dorset for me. This is my home, and it always will be. And I'm so lucky that I get to do my job at home. I'm so lucky.
Incredible. So where can people see you perform this summer and this year?
I'm everywhere. Literally everywhere. The best thing for people to do is go onto social media on Facebook or on Instagram. Facebook is JR Entertainments, and then Instagram is jr.ents. So I've got all the dates and all the things on there, all the things that I'm doing. And then obviously Panto again at Christmas back at Weymouth Pavilion. Just again, one more time, just get the plug there. Put the tickets so online at www.weymouthpavilion.com or online or call the box office on 01305 783 225. And that's where you can see me at Christmas.
We'll try and get that along the bottom.
Yeah, that'd be lovely. Yeah. But yeah, so keep an eye on the socials and things, because I'm always here, there, and everywhere doing something. And if you come and see me, it'd be lovely to see you. And have a lovely day, everybody. Whatever you choose to do with it.
I mean, that's a perfect note to finish on. Thank you very much, Jamie.
Thank you very much. And one last sentiment: wherever you are in the world, that is where you are. And also, it's important to be nice, but nice to be important. Do you know what you've been? Important. You've also been very, very nice.
Oh, good. You.
Thank you.
Yeah,
goodbye. All right, then. So we're going to do a bit of mind reading first of all. So I need to find a mind that I can read. It's going to be tough. Right, what we're going to do, first of all, I've actually written a prediction. Let's go for you, right? Okay. I'm getting drawn to you, okay? So, first of all, I've made a prediction on this piece of paper here of a word. Do you know what that word says? No, that is correct. Thank you. That is so good. Now, I need you to think of a playing card. It could be absolutely any playing card in the entire world, okay? You feel this connection building between us? I can feel it too, but don't get too excited, right? So, right. Would you be impressed if I had your card written on this piece of paper?
Yes.
You would be impressed. Your card? Take your card. Thank you. Right, no, that was a bit of a warm-up. Okay, so what we're going to do first of all is we're going to sort of, let's do this, yeah. So I need, let's do for you first. Right? Think of a man's name, basic man's name, okay? Don't tell me what it is just yet. Okay, remember I'm severely dyslexic in my left eye, so it's a joke there, love, never mind. So what we're going to do, there we go, a bit slow there, run first, run. Anyway, so what we're going to do, oh dear. So I'm going to write, yeah, okay. Right. What was the man's name that you chose?
Mark.
What?
Mark, my name.
Not Peter.
No.
No, that's awkward. Never mind. So what we're going to do? Put that. Thank you. Great. What we're going to do now is I'm going to get you to choose a colour. Okay. Now you could get some subliminal messages coming from somewhere. It's your choice if you use them or you don't. Red. Oh, where did that come from? Where did that come from? So let me just. Okay. Right. Okay. Here we go. Got this now. Brilliant. Okay, so what was the colour you chose?
Red.
Really? Not blue? Lovely, okay. They normally do say blue, but it is all right, don't worry. Okay, fabulous. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to get this pack of cards here. Am I still in shot right now? Am I still in shot? Oh, that's all right. We'll give it a go anyway. So what we're going to do is I'm going to get you to choose a card, okay? So let's just do these. So different cards here, okay?
Yep.
So say stop whenever you want, okay? Get ready?
Yep, stop.
Happy with that?
Yep.
Right, lovely. Don't let me see it, okay? Keep hold of that there. And I'm going to put that back inside there. Okay, here we go. So, can't believe these didn't say blue. So what we're going to do, okay, let me,
Yeah, fabulous. You show it to Cameron.
Oh yeah. Can I? Which
Yeah,
one
yeah,
are
hold
we
it
on?
up.
Are we on that one?
All right. All good. Right, fab. What was the card you chose?
The 7 of Hearts.
The what?
The 7 of Hearts.
Brilliant. That is. You know, I tell you what, Dynamo doesn't make half as make the stuff easy. Right, give us that back. So, but the thing was, I did actually get close on a couple of them. Okay, so remind me of the name you chose again, Mark.
Mark.
Was it?
Yeah,
Funny
was.
that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Funny that. So, Mark, like that, M-A-R-K, Mark.
Oh.
Okay, so that's that one.
Houdini.
And then, and then the colour was red. You did choose red, didn't you? And I thought you were going to say blue, but you did actually say red. And red is actually written on there like that.
Whoa.
There we are. And then for the full house, the card you chose
It was the 7 of Hearts.
7 of Hearts. The 7 of Hearts.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And that is magic.
That is magic.
There we are.
Oh,
I love that one. And the good thing is it's so easy for me to do.